What do we need to know about the energies for the week of August 18th through the 24th? Welcome to Trevor's Tarot Astrology and Spirituality. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos, promoting the channel on your own social media platforms. It's all greatly appreciated. And if you've donated money to the channel through the Super Thanks, Buy Me a Coffee, or Venmo, a huge, huge thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, when I sat down to uh, meditate to get into the energies of the week starting Monday the 18th through the 24th, it felt a little bit like a game of handball or racquetball, I mean. We are just beating the ball against the wall and it comes back and you hit the ball and it goes against the wall and it comes back and you hit the ball and it goes against the wall and comes back. And it just it feels like it's a week of kind of contradictory type energies where you might come home, you might be at work on Tuesday going, yeah, this has been a really good day, and then by the time you get home it's like, ugh, what a terrible day. um or even like starting out on a meal, I'm like, oh, this is really good. And then by the end of it, being like, yeah, didn't really like that. It's what it feels like. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what it feels like. Like we might change our minds midway through, um, and decide, oh, no, we're not having a good day, or we are. It's just, it feels just like that. Um, it's going to feel like we're super busy, just super busy, but we don't necessarily know what we're supposed to be doing. Like that kind of contradiction. Um, you know, it's like we feel super, super busy, yet we have plenty of time to procrastinate, and we will. Um, it's almost a juvenile energy too of the, the toddler saying things like, I don't wanna. Uh, yeah, I mean, there might be a stack of things on our desk that we need to take care of, and we know deep down that it's probably only a 10-minute job, but it feels like it's, like a 4 or 5 day job. But we're gonna procrastinate because deep down we really know it's only a 4 or 5 minute job, and we're gonna just be like, well, I just don't wanna. So this is what it feels like. Uh, there's also, towards the middle of the week, it feels like there's a little bit of serenity that comes into play, where we just kind of have a feeling, yeah, everything's gonna work out. Now, I don't think that lasts because I think this is that week of contradictions. So it might just be like, oh, I think everything's gonna work out, and then 5 minutes later, being like, ugh, everything's going to whatever. Um, but I do think there's gonna be some moments of serenity, tranquility, which is gonna be a welcome break given where we were last week. Now, like we talked about, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when we get these relaxation points. Where the energy just gets too intense to sustain. So there's a drop in it, is what happens. Uh, this is where we can often feel fatigued. Our muscles can hurt. In particular, I get for a lot of people that there's going to be pains in feet, hips, lower backs, and fingers. Almost like an arthritis-y type feeling. Um, and hopefully I'm wrong, but I That's what it feels like. It doesn't last, so that's good. In fact, it might be again one of these things where it's like, oh, my feet hurt, and then 5 minutes later being like, yeah, they're okay. So it's just it feels like it's going to be this week of this and that are both true, but at the same time, which of course is not really possible, but um, that's what it feels like. Okay, let's start out with a couple cards from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck, and then we'll move on to the tarot, and then we'll finish with the Spirit Animal Oracles. So, all right, what are we supposed to know this week, August 18th through the 24th of 2025? What are we supposed to know this week? Let's give these a shuffle. Yeah, just again, there's like a ping pong table on the scrying bowl. So I think that's just like we're just bouncing all over the place, is I think the overall energy for the week of, discontent to content to whatever. But the truth is, I think if we look at this in the global scheme of the last couple months, this is kind of a welcome relief, because at least there are those moments where things feel okay. Even if they're fleeting, at least they're there because they haven't been there for a while. So let's see what we get here. This feels right. Okay. We get autumn, release the old, um, and rest. So yeah, it's a week of releasing energies that aren't serving us, and it's resting. And of course, we still have quite a bit of summer left. There's still a full month of summer left. Of course, by the end of the week, I guess it won't be a full month anymore. But um, yeah, we're heading towards autumn. And autumn will be that period of time that we talked about that will be, just rest and recuperation, after some global energy shifts. That'll be very big. So I think this is preparing us for that. And direction guardian, choose your path. I think it's particularly apt for what I was describing. The energies feel like. Um, do we like our dinner or do we hate our dinner? Does our feet hurt or do our feet not hurt? We get to kind of choose our own adventure, so to speak. We don't have to fall into this back and forth game. Now, most of us will, because it's overwhelming, and myself included. That's just the way it's going to be. But we can choose to try to take the higher path. Not easy to do, but we'll see what the tarot has to say about that. And then lastly, we get the fire guardian, ignite your passions. I think you'll find that the moments of serenity and tranquility that are available will be happening when we're doing something that we really, really love, whether that's cooking, um, cleaning, baking, uh, projects around the house, whether it's going for walks, hikes, bike rides, swims, playing with kids, grandkids. Those are going to be the moments where things feel tranquil, the moments where we're in that passion, the things that we really, really like to do. So I think it's going to be a good week. I think it's like I said, it's going to be like this weird contradiction where it feels like two things are true at the same time, but in reality, it's probably somewhere in the middle. Like, yeah, do our feet hurt or not hurt? Well, they might just slightly ache. Might not be as bad as we think. Uh, what I'm doing here, we'll save those for the end. Okay, so let's pull some cards from the tarot. Here. Okay, what do we need to know about this week, August 18th through the 24th? It feels like a contradiction. Do we need to know? What do we need to know about this week, August 18th through the 24th? What is it we need to know? What is it we need to know? 18th. I think there's definitely still some financial worry. I think that will last for a while, to be honest with you. See the Five of Pentacles in the scramble. I also see the Magician in the scramble, which means there's a lot of energies available. I think that's why it feels so contradictory at certain points this week. And it may have already started as well for some of us. Um, we are heading towards the new moon, which is barely in Virgo. Um, as well. Here we get the Page of Wands. So um, expect messages this week. Expect information that's uh, coming in that, isn't necessarily bad. It's not necessarily good either. It's a matter of perception on whether we take it as bad or good. For example, we might find out that they're changing some budgetary stuff at work. Uh, and we might take that as bad and be scared for our job security. But in reality, it might actually be good because they just found a way to cut some costs so that they can give everybody a little bit of a raise. So it's kind of a don't take it on face value type of a week. What information that is coming in, we might need a couple hours to contemplate it and think about it before we form a decision on what we think about it. It might not be so crystal clear exactly what it is that we're hearing. So just be aware. Yeah, it's going to feel like we're a little bit making decisions blindly. I think that's a great way of thinking about it with the two swords. It's like we receive information and we're not quite sure what to do with it. What we don't know at the time that we're receiving it is if we just wait, the blindfold does come off and things become more clear. So I think patience is a good term for the week, a good um, energy to practice for the week. Now, patience is by far one of the hardest energies to live in. So, uh, kudos to you if you can do it. It's just human nature to be impatient. So, to be patient is we want answers and we want them now. Is kind of the way most of us operate. And here it's like I don't know that it's answers we're looking for, but we get information and we don't have the complete story yet. And we're just gonna have to wait. There really isn't much of a choice. Or we can draw the wrong conclusion and then backtrack and draw a different conclusion, which is where that contradiction is. So we get the Queen of Cups. There's going to be a lot of um, kind of oh my moments this week where things sound either too good to be true or too bad to be true. Some of it might be true, some of it might not be true as well. But those of if you have a spiritual practice, this would be a good week to really utilize that. I think to get into that mindset of not necessarily needing instant gratification, because I don't think it's going to come this week. I just don't. I think it's a wait and see type energy. It's a question everything type energy. It's um, you know, for some people, and I keep getting an auto insurance thing in the scramble. I don't know if some bills come in and the number seems way too big to be believable. Um, like the electric bill seems bigger than normal. Um, maybe call and check it out. It's probably right, unfortunately, but yeah, there's going to be some financial shocking news as well, I think, in terms of um, insurance and electric bills. I don't know why that's coming up. So I, I don't know. It does feel like it's a crossroads as well, that things are about to change. And we've got two twos in the environment around. I like that for us because it does feel like we need a shift. We need the shift towards this big global shift, which is going to happen later in the autumn. So, it's a time to daydream, time to allow yourself to check out from a situation if it's overwhelming. Um, we Nobody's forcing us to watch the news, for example. Nobody's forcing, well, I hope not. Nobody's you know, making us you know, live in the anxiety that is being perpetuated by the media, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it might be time to check out a little bit. And this is that contradiction again, going from anxious to, serene tranquility, back to anxious, and back and forth and back and forth. It's going to be kind of exhausting, but uh, yeah, it's going to be hard to keep up. We're just not going to know the Knight of Swords. We're just not really going to know what it is that's going on this week until almost like the week is over. It's like everything just feels like it's in flux. And I think that's why we're constantly changing our minds about things. Um, it's not as uncomfortable as some of the previous weeks we've had, which is good, but it's not exactly the most comfortable energy either. I wish I could tell you it was, but it's not. Um, There'll be a lot of us that just want to be alone. And the truth is going to be a highly sought after commodity. Uh, but we might not be able to get to the truth um, just yet. The truth will always eventually come to us, but what the truth is right now, and in this week when we hear things, it might just not be clear for a while. So there's that potential for our heads to spin a little, and then for us to think we figured it out, just to learn that, oh wait, no, that wasn't right either. So it's just one of these weird weeks. Um, we get stability. I like that. Um, I think that's why we get these moments of peace and tranquility is there are points and times where our personal lives feel very stable. And we remember that, there's only so much we can control. Well, probably nothing we can actually control, but there's only so much influence we have. Our circle of influence only goes so far, I guess is what I meant to say. And if we stick in that energy, and we ignite our passion like the oracle cards said, and we take time to rest and release, I think we'll realize that in all of this chaos, there is a consistent stability that has always been there. Now that's tough, yeah, that feels right. It feels like, if we throw out this worry, and what's going on in the world, and we really think about, you know, our basic needs, I think there is quite a bit of stability, which is good. Circles of support around money. That does make me maybe do check to make sure that electric bill is correct or that car insurance quote is correct. Maybe call around for different car insurance quotes. or house insurance for that matter. I do think that there's a potential for saving some money in places like that this week and in this month in general. As we head towards the end of it, it does feel like that's available as well. And then we get the Page of Cups, bombshells and surprises, the head or over the feet, or, it's just this weird contradictory type energy. And, I mean, there are no major arcanas, which is in some ways good. I think the energy is a bit subdued this week, which allows us to get to some of those peaceful and tranquil moments. Um, on a personal level, now on a global level, I think it's perhaps a different story, but I do think that things are going to be okay. So we're going to get news. We're not going to be able to keep up with it, and we're definitely not going to know what it means. So, I mean, the cards can't be really any more clear than that. Um, we have stability if we look for it. Whether we look for it's a different story, and probably dependent upon how in the moment we're able to live, which is about our spiritual practice. And I'm not telling you you need one. I'm just saying if you have one, it might be good to rely on. It's going to very much feel like we're acting with a blindfold on, that we'd much rather be in a different place at times. So there's going to be a lot of daydreaming. There is the potential for some monetary savings here. I don't think monetary gain for most of us, although I think for a few people, I think that's true. But savings, like I don't know if something's calculated wrong or we call her when we get a better deal on car insurance, something along those lines. And um, we're just not going to know what the truth is for a while, but we will know it eventually. So it's kind of these. It makes sense now that we've thrown the cards that there are no major arcanas. That's why the week feels very weird. There's no real defining energy to define the week. There's just all these different types of smaller energies that are trying to make up a definition for the week. So that's the way it feels. Uh, we always have our hope underneath with the star card. Let us not forget how to hope. Um, and know that these cycles are coming to an end. The burdens that we've been feeling, they're coming towards their end. The darkness in the world is coming towards its end with the Ten of Wands and then the Ten of Swords. Um, so yeah, I mean the star card's the only major arcana that was in the shadow, which is hope. So spiritual practice, I do think is important this week. Whatever that means to you, certainly not going to tell you you should or shouldn't. Okay, let's pull some animal oracles. I think four is the number. Some messages for us to tie this all together for the week. There's some messages just to tie this together for the week. Yeah. It's the pig, which is about overcoming obstacles. Uh, we get the crow spirit, co-create with spirit. I think this is about igniting passions. Um, passions are almost always spiritual. Whether your passion is to paint and create art or to cook or, something more scholarly, it's almost always somewhat divinely inspired. So, um, and then the bat spirit rebirth is assured. So that in these ends of cycles are coming. The Ten of Wands, the Ten of Swords, and the shadows, and now the bat. Um, and then the butterfly. Transformation is beautiful. And of course, it is kind of butterfly season in our neighborhood. They're all over the place in our neighbor's butterfly garden, and we have a little butterfly garden too. Um, they're just flying around, and maybe that's kind of the point too, is to take time to look for the beauty in the world and not focus on um, the darkness all the time. I know that's hard, but I do think that um, we have to give ourselves a break a little bit. I think that's what this week is about. It's going to force us to do it. It's going to force us to take a break from the chaos because it's like, oh, it's crazy. And then, nah, things are pretty calm. It's just the way it's going to be. But it's for our benefit. And then the nightingale spirit, love is all around. Um, yeah, I think, observing nature, being in parks, going for hikes, cooking, cleaning, the things that bring us joy, whether while we're doing them or after they're done, right? Maybe we don't actually like cooking, but we like eating what we cook. Maybe we don't actually like cleaning, but we like being in a clean space. It's gonna be an odd week. All right, leave me a comment and let me know if this resonated. Thank you. I'll be back with another video soon.